I thought this could be an interesting idea for a video. We've all talked about kind of some of the tough games Anthony Richardson has had, but there's one game in particular people have really brought up. This was his stat line from that game. It was against Kentucky, and part of why it's getting brought up is because he played Will Levis, who also didn't have a great statistical game, so those two guys both getting mocked in the top 10 despite having bad games against each other. It's kind of become a meme, but looking at the stat line, it was rough. I mean, the passer rating, and this is a college passer rating, was 62.9. He was just 14 for 35 for 143 yards. That's terrible. That efficiency, 40%, and we're talking, well under 5 yards per attempt, well into Blaine Gabbert zone. That's abysmal. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and the rushing was not there. In 6 rushes, he had just 4 yards. So what the hell happened? How did he have such a terrible game? Well, honestly, watching the tape, the stat line doesn't do him justice. He was even worse. It was not a good day by Richardson. What happens here is you see the concept on the screen. Basically, you have 3 receivers running different levels down the field, one deep, one over the middle, one too short. Basically, the idea is hopefully there will only be 2 defenders on that section of the field. So, one of them should get open. Watch as Richardson takes the snap. He looks down the field right here. And at this point, there's, it's well defended, I would say. Really, I would probably like him to take the underneath route on this one, just gain some yards. It's first down. But he's kind of saying, you know what, one-on-one matchup down the field, I'm going to take that chance instead. And you know what? I'm fine with it. I don't have a criticism with taking a shot down the field when you have a one-on-one matchup. My criticism is with the throw. Look at this terrible throw. And this was happening all game. I mean, he was just missing throws constantly, which is, obviously not ideal. Richardson has an accuracy issue, and in this game, it was really on full display. He was missing throws left and right, and that was definitely something that, you can't help but notice. It was kind of the main issue in his game in a lot of ways, I thought. Like it happened on plays like this, which were just easy throws to make. I mean, these are, kind of Zach Wilson type plays where it's just something underneath, right? It's a play that it's a layup. It's one you have to make. It's going to be a check down, and, it's not designed to throw it to the check down, but watch what happens. Richardson takes the snap. He looks down the field, doesn't love what he sees down the field, so he's going to look for the check down. All this stuff, very good. Again, Richardson, I think, underratedly a smart player. He gets through his reads, I think, pretty well. I've heard that get talked about as a criticism of him, but I haven't really seen that, certainly not towards the end of the year. I think he got better game in and game out. I think he's pretty good at this stuff. The issue is, again, okay, layup. Throw you have to make. But look at how hard and how high he makes this throw, so the receiver doesn't make the grab. Okay, maybe he could have still caught it. He got his hands on it. Maybe guys in the NFL catch it. But you know what? That's still one that should not have been that difficult, and not every guy is going to make the catch. And if it was easy throw, then that would have been a completion. One thing that hurt Richardson in this game was the way that the running game just didn't work. That was definitely something that we saw that was, an issue, as the running game is part of his game. As you see here, he tries to run, but Kentucky was all over it. Okay, not really much you can do there, just kind of, good defense more than anything. But again, when that's part of your game and now you have to solely rely on passing the ball and being in the pocket and throwing, the fact that he had a meltdown like this is obviously a red mark on his resume, and why, he's, while there's definitely hype around him, why he's not going to go. I mean, I've heard some people talk maybe he could go first overall, but realistically, why most people are not having him as a top 5 pick is because of these kind of issues. Like this next one, where it's actually, I believe this is a blown coverage by Kentucky. So we can sit here and say tough situation at times, which is fair, but it wasn't a tough situation every time. I mean, he was legitimately bad in this football game. Like, what's going to happen here is, so you see that it's already a route that could work. A go route, single safety deep, sort of towards the outside. Okay, makes sense. However, right when this play begins, again, I could be wrong. I'm not in the huddle, but it looked to me like this was a situation where the player who was supposed to be covering him is playing zone right here. It could be like sort of a, one of those coverages where you're playing one thing on one side of the field and another thing on the other side of the field, because it kind of looks like that too. I honestly don't know exactly what's happening, but it looks like a blown coverage. It looks like Richardson has a wide open player to make this throw to. However, you see him make this throw, and it's just completely off. And I'll go show it again. I want you to take a look at his throwing motion. I'm going to show this a few times. He does kind of just throw it all with his arm, right? He doesn't get his legs into it too much. And I think that that's actually a positive if you're evaluating him. If there's some footwork issues, that's probably a good thing. And again, I'm not a guru on this stuff. I can't say for certain if there are or aren't. But if you feel like there's some mechanical issues, that's actually a huge positive with Richardson because his accuracy is terrible. Like, there's just no denying his accuracy is bad. But if you think that maybe there's a mechanic issue that you can do to fix it, similar to what happened with Josh Allen, who had mechanic issues and then fixed it, that would be a huge benefit and maybe a reason to draft him because you hope that you can fix that kind of thing. Whereas if he had perfect mechanics and was still missing these throws, well, then it feels like it's unsalvageable. Again, one more missed throw. I can show these all day if I want to. The reality is it was a bad game. That's kind of the main takeaway with Richardson, is that in a game where kind of the opposing team really made an effort to make him throw the football, it did not go well. So again, what did we learn here from all of this? I honestly don't think we learned that much. I mean, we learned about issues that Richardson has, and you could definitely, if you're a Richardson hater, kind of use this as a very fair and valid argument as to why you wouldn't want to draft Richardson. Listen, I get it. I get why you would be wary of drafting Richardson because of all of the things I mentioned. And, maybe this game makes it even worse because you did see a scenario where he kind of had a meltdown, quite frankly. That's concerning. You don't want to see that. I do think, though, that, again, the thing with Richardson is still the thing with Richardson. He's really good at football other than throwing it. That's pretty much where he's at right now. So if you can fix that, he's going to be a really valuable piece in the NFL. If you can fix just his accuracy, because again, he has the arm strength, it's very much the Josh Allen situation. I mean, to me, it's almost exactly the Josh Allen situation. Little differences here and there, but a physical freak who can't throw the football accurately, what do you do with that? When do you draft that player? Because whether, some teams might have him first overall, some teams, aren't going to have him in the first round, but every team is going to have him at a certain point. So how much do you evaluate it? How much do you trust you can fix him? Is it Malik Willis? Is it Josh Allen? Is it somewhere in between? It's hard to say, but does this game change too much of how I feel about it? I mean, it's a good example of highlighting the negatives, but the negatives are there throughout the game, throughout the season. I would say that, this was definitely an anomaly in the wrong direction. This was definitely his worst game, even in games where they weren't able to run the ball and he wasn't able to use his legs as much, and they kind of made him throw. There were games where he still was better, but the accuracy issues were always there. But this definitely, I think, highlights how bad the accuracy issues got at times. At least that's the way I view it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Richardson? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.